Yo, so welcome y'all. Today we are doing the swim edition of Car Talk. Got my homie all the way down here from Delaware, BT, Byron Taylor, and my brother in the back, Philip Graham. Both incredible dudes, but of course have had their own relationship situations. So we're gonna discuss the song. We're gonna play the music. We're gonna stop in certain places and discuss the song. And just talk about some real life stuff, some heavy stuff, some light stuff, but rock with us. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Solid.
I left myself wide open, and I should've known. Don't come too close, I will give away my heart. Don't come too close, I will give away my heart.
I don't give away my heart. Don't come too close. I don't give away my
Don't come
heart.
too close.
Don't come too close. Yeah.
Yo, so that's a real feeling for me. That don't come too close. I don't give away my heart. I don't know if y'all feel like that, if y'all ever feel like that, but like I've even gotten to the point sometimes where I tell people like I ain't got no feelings. I find it hard to like allow myself to really to get in my feelings about anything, especially when you've been through something so difficult like that. I don't really be wanting to attach too much emotion to anything. At least not the sense that I don't have emotion towards people or my lady, but it's like I don't like people having control of my emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 'cause
That was the first thing that stood out to me. It's like, don't come too close. Like, always keeping people at a distance, because I think, like many of us, we've been in, complicated or difficult relationships, and to know what it's like to give away that power, and to be hurt by it, is like one of the things that keeps me at a distance in relationships. So that stood out to me immediately. It's like, nah, like I'm not going to be the type of person who's just going to easily like give away that power, and I'd rather keep people at a distance because I feel like it keeps me safe to some degree.
Yeah, and it keeps me actually a little powerful. That way I don't have to go back to the good old days of being stuck in front of the TV watching Lifetime and having to deal with that. I can kind of man up and hold my ground. But as soon as I let go, I'm definitely, it's a whole different story.
But is that really manning up though? You know what I mean? Like is that true strength for us to, kind of be in those positions? I'm sure we're not the only people, but like, is that true strength to be like, I think having control of your emotions and being able to like really monitor how you feel and how you respond to things, I think is important. But to then hold people at bay from being able to really get emotionally attached to situations, like, is that healthy? Is it unhealthy? Like, I don't know.
It's kind of weird. It seems like with every relationship, it's always a game. If you give up too soon and you open up too soon, you can ultimately lose. But if you hold back too long, you can ultimately lose. So you got to have a balance, and that's what I don't like. If I want to be free, I just want to just be all the way in and not have to worry about someone taking my kindness for a weakness, because that can be detrimental in the long run as well.
Yeah.
For example, with my past relationships, I was always open and always nice, and then as soon as I have a conflict, they just walk right over it, like, yeah, whatever, you'll get over it. And that's not how things should be.
Hey, deep water, we in deep water. Our relationship is sinking. I hope that we would have thought of some way to reconcile these differences, but it's hard to agree where no vision is. As a leader, I still can set what the mission is, but at this point I don't think it'll change nothing. Together 3 years, ain't managed to co-manage. To add another year could simply mean more damage. See,
here we got this piece right where we talking about like common vision and having vision in the family, and I feel like I was telling somebody this. I feel like marriage isn't necessarily, it ain't just like this relationship of love. Like, I love you, you love me, we should be together. I think that marriage is also like it's a business, like it's an agreement, you know what I mean? And with any good business, the leaders of that business should have a common idea, a common vision of where they want to take the vision. Otherwise, they're gonna be going to two separate places. And I think, bro, I got married way too early to really be able to understand that. So I didn't come in like, yo, let's sit down and talk about where we going and what we doing together. It was just like, yo, I love you, and that's all that matters. And it wasn't all that mattered. You know what I mean? And after years of doing that, it's like, yo, I still want to keep it going. Like, I want this to work. But is it going to be another year of success? Or is it going to be another year of damage? You know what I mean?
Yeah, marriage is a whole nother ball game. Being on my second tour of marriage, it's not easy. And it's not easy for a lot of reasons. It's not easy because, for one, my belief is when you're in a relationship, the woman always has that fear of you leaving. But as soon as you get married, they feel like you ain't going nowhere until you got to go get those papers. It's a good thing I don't have them with me right now. I will show y'all. But
wait, what you mean?
Until you gotta get those papers that will basically put an end to that relationship.
The divorce papers.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I think I am an objective bystander because I have never been married, although I do understand and appreciate the concept of marriage. But when I hear that verse, I think more of like the spiritual realm where it talks about how you have to be equally yoked. And that's being on the same level, in the same mind of communication, having the same goals, the same dreams, and working towards that and really learning how to communicate. And sometimes I feel that the feelings of love complicates things because we want to be in love so bad that we don't actually listen to what the other person wants. And maybe that's where you're coming from with that.
But the whole idea of equally yoked, like we learned that growing up. It wasn't that someone didn't teach it to us. They told us, yeah, you and your partner got to be equally yoked. But when you're growing up as a kid, it's like trying to find your way around that metaphor to figure out what directly is being mentioned or discussed, and not having the experience to give you the context for it. That's a very difficult thing to understand. Equally yoked. I'm like, nigga, like equally yoked. Like, I'm not an egg. Like, she not an egg. Like, how can we be equally yoked? Like, break that down. And there was no practicality to that lesson for me coming up. I mean, nobody really broke that down and said equally yoked means that y'all are on the same frequency, the same vibe, the same, and you have a common vision of where you're going and you're working towards that together so that you stay on the same frequency and vibe. Like, that wasn't the conversation. It was, yeah, you got to make sure you find somebody who's equally yoked. So you like, is that supposed to be magic?
No, I think you spoke to it too. It's like, as we grow, and our understanding changes, we understand that equally yoked is more than just one-dimensional. Like, I thought equally yoked is like, we got to be the same religion.
Right.
But really, it's like talking about what the dreams, the goals, aspirations, being on the same level. Like, you don't have to agree necessarily, but like, if there is a goal for your family, if there's a goal for the individual, how can you guys work together as a couple, as a team to accomplish these goals? And it's not to agree with everything that the other person says, but it's really learning how to grow together, learning how to communicate, how to be on the same page, even if you disagree. And I think that part comes with maturity, like emotional and spiritual maturity.
Gotcha.
As a leader, I still can set what the mission is, but at this point, I don't think it'll change nothing. Together 3 years, ain't managed to co-manage. To add another year could simply mean more damage. See, I don't wanna jump ship, but the boat is sinking, and logically it don't make sense for us to drown. But you might as well swim while you got the chance. Way too long and it can quickly pull you down. Together now, but I know it's for a short stay. Work it out between us, neither can afford the court pay. Knew we were in trouble and we had to make a move. Call my brother for advice, he said divorce would be a poor play. So, tell me what's next, girl. Writing on my plan, but my plan ain't for the next girl. Some say that the best way to forget about your old chick is with a new chick, just to have problems with your next girl. See.
So I'm stopping it right there because that's a very critical point about how quickly I feel like people leave relationships to get into another one. It's like, and I remember telling somebody this, I was like, yo, you're a high chaser. Like, you're a high chaser. You're always chasing the high of that emotional, that the honeymoon. Like, it's like you're chasing the honeymoon period. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, cool. Well, shit over here ain't popping no more. So let me find somewhere else that makes me feel good, versus being able to feel good within yourself, man. And that goes back to that idea of people being like, yo, you got a relationship, a marriage is 50-50. And I'm saying, no, it's never 50-50. Like, if you do the math on that, 50% and 50%, that's 0.5 times 0.5. Marriage is a product. That relationship is a product. If you multiply 0.5 and 0.5, you get 0.25. You actually get a smaller quantity. The only way to have one is I got to come in as my whole self. She got to come in as her whole self, and we got to be there. And you can't expect to just leave a relationship. If you're not whole, you can't expect to leave a relationship and go get with the next person and expect that shit to be beautiful. Like, how is it supposed to be great if you still the same half person, or you're still the same quarter of the person that you were in the last relationship? You just going to this new person to bring in the same damage. It's the same problems.
Yeah, see, I live by this motto, and I never really realized this until I got married the second time. And it's basically a quote that I seen online. It says, until you get comfortable with being alone, you'll never know if you're choosing someone out of love or loneliness.
Heavy.
If you didn't catch that, rewind it. Because that quote right there is the reason why a lot of people, like you said, search for that high. Is because a lot of times they just don't know how to be alone. They don't know how to love themselves. Right. And they don't know. And I'm a victim of that. I'm the same way. So you got to ask yourself, am I really in this because I just don't want to go to an empty bed at night? Or am I really in this because I'm trying to better myself or try to build something with someone else?
It's deep. I think we're all victims of it. You know, we call it mania. There's this thing called manic lovers, like people who just want to go from the feeling and the euphoria of being in love, chasing that feeling and that high, but never really invest in themselves. It kind of speaks back to the chorus where you talk about keeping yourself at a distance. It's like, I can be in it as long as it feels good. And the moment that it doesn't, I want to go to something else that does feel good. Never healing any of those parts of yourself or the relationship that can make it healthy and grow.
But isn't it supposed to feel good though?
Well, listen.
Because I mean, I understand that there's gonna be points when it feels great. There's gonna be points when it's like it's a struggle, it's a process. We got to work through some things. But I feel like there's an argument that somebody's gonna make that says, "Hey, it's supposed to feel good, and if it don't feel good, then it must not be right." But how it can't always feel good. You know what I mean? It can't always be the highlight of our day, because sometimes the struggle and the process and the work that it takes to put into the relationship is going to stretch you beyond the comfort zone of feel good. It's going to stretch you to the comfort zone of sacrifice, of love, etc. You know what I mean?
But that's the whole mentality that everyone's in. The microwave effect opposed to the oven. We always know that the food tastes better when it comes out the oven, but we always want that quick fix. And that's how people look at it. Or if it's broken, you know, don't fix it, just replace it. And that was my mindset quickly after my first marriage. And I mean, POF and I were best friends.
You did POF, bro?
Oh, I did POF. It was a lot of late nights. And I mean, if you were to see some of these women, you wouldn't know if they were a woman or not. Now, I find out that they were after the fact, but that's not safe. So, but yeah, that's the crazy part. You know, you find yourself just searching, and then you find yourself in bad situations trying to search for that, whether it be a person that doesn't truly love you for you, or whether you find a person that has their own intentions. They see that you may have something, and they may see that they can get something out of you. And in most cases, those women are talking about money.
Heavy.
It's not in my intentions to fight throughout this process like we did about them dishes. I just hope that we can be mature enough to know we rode this boat long as we could. It's time to swim out where the fish live.
So I stop it right there at the end. I'll tell you where that actually comes from. My cousin actually told me, he said a relationship or marriage is like being on a boat together, paddling, and in the middle of the ocean. It's like you and your wife, or you and your spouse, or you and your partner are on this boat paddling in the middle of the ocean. This is a marriage. And he says the reason why this is the marriage because you've now left the shore. You've left the shore, you're on your way to whatever destination y'all are going for, but you can no longer see the shore ahead of you, and you can no longer see the shore behind you. And he says at this critical partner relationship, y'all gotta be paddling in the same way, in the same direction, because he says if y'all are not paddling together, y'all paddling in two different directions, one or two things is gonna happen. Y'all either just gonna keep going in circles, or the boat gonna capsize. And if anybody remembers Titanic, at the end, you know, Jack was telling her, he's like, yo, if we stay on this boat too long, as it sinks, it's gonna pull us down too. So we have to be able to get off this boat at the, he's like, we can't get in the water too early because then we'll get cold. But if we wait too late, then the energy from the boat actually sinking is gonna pull us down. And so this is how idea of at the end, it's like, yo, while you got the chance, while you still have your emotional stability, you might be a little broken, you might be a little hurt, but you're not completely broken. And while you're not completely broken, is this the time to say, all right, it's time to get out of this marriage? Or is this the time to fight harder? You know what I mean? Who's to say which way does that, you know, while you still have energy, it's like, do I give the last little bit I got to make this work? Or do I take the last little bit that I have, self-preserve, get out of that relationship while I'm still healthy, while that person is still healthy, recalibrate myself, and then move forward? You know what I mean? What is the decision here? You know what I mean? And